1, 2, 3,
so we're in
7,
time.
7.
Oh, 5, 4,
Oh!
3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's like Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Wildly uninteresting podcast. Episode 108. 108, baby.
Yep.
Right to me, Stickly.
If you haven't tuned in before, previously to today, this is the Wildly Uninteresting podcast. That's Ian. That's Sarah.
Hi.
I am Adam.
I am Adam.
And really, we just
Adam
bullshit
Smash.
about current shit going on. We bullshit about practically nothing half the time. But if you're willing to waste a little bit of time, roughly an hour of your time, to check us out, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by.
Just throw it on while you're doing the dishes. Don't be stupid.
Hey,
Yeah. You know, it's just like hanging out with three idiots. That's pretty much all it is,
Yeah.
right? A buddy of mine explained it to me. He was like, I like listening to it because it's almost like I'm hanging out with you.
Without the commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't have to
that's
have
awesome.
it, you don't have to like go and do nothing. There's no,
No.
yeah. So it's beneficial.
Wonderful.
You don't even have to say bye.
We're like your three best
Right.
friends that anybody can have. You know, we're the three best friends.
As long as
that
you
we
have proper technology and
Yeah.
access to the internet.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
We're friends only if you can afford it.
Yeah.
But shout out to Ian, though. I mean, Evan.
Oh.
I said Ian.
Eh.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Evan. We
shout out to
appreciate
me.
you always stopping by
Hi,
and checking
Evan.
us out. Hi, Evan.
Buddy.
We miss you.
Ooh, we miss you, dude.
You're super.
That's the thing. Like, he, I believe he has 2 children now, right? So, no.
Two.
I'm wrong. He only has 1. He'll probably correct me or get pissed off, but I only think he has 1
No,
now.
I think he has 2.
Get it together, dumbass.
So,
Well,
I
now
assume,
I need to know.
because the majority of my buddies have 1 child at least.
One child.
And
One wife. Or one
I'm sure
ex.
your hands get like super full. Like I think about like my busiest week, right? This week was pretty busy, and I think about that. Then I think about like a kid on top of that. I feel exhausted when I come home from work or whatever. I feel like I have no time during the day. And then I think about having a child. Maybe though, I would have like that extra energy. Like a child would give you energy sometimes.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I
like
mean?
The first 5 months.
And then you're just drained. Like
Yeah.
I'm ready for this day.
I haven't slept right in a while. I've cleaned more shit from this thing than myself. And,
It would get. What?
Well, I know talking to my friends that have kids, they're certainly exhausted, but it almost seems like it's a biological override more than anything.
Yeah.
They're like, I know I have to do this. There's no option. Like I take care of this child or it's dead, and
Yeah.
you just don't want that.
or I sell it to the Mexicans.
You
Right?
don't want these problems. No, okay,
But
so
I
I
would
was
assume
right.
that it would have to.
I was right. They had
makes
another one.
sense.
That's what.
Yeah, I knew
I
they
kn-
had to.
I
That's
didn't
what
know
I was
if.
about to do.
I know Aaron wanted to have another child, and I didn't know if they actually committed to that idea. But now that makes the situation even worse, right? I think about 1 child, right?
One child.
And how much more tired I'd be during the week. Like I mean, sometimes I'm like exhausted to my bone. Like my bones feel exhausted. Could you imagine putting a like childcare on top of that, like caring for another human being?
Put child care on them
Oh, there's no
bones.
way. I
Yeah.
used to think about that when I worked at the clinic. Sorry, I got Smarties
Yeah,
in my
okay.
mouth. Because I mean, I was fucking exhausted every day. I mean, for years, I was just unbelievably exhausted. I had to get up too early for like my clock. I got up at the time that I like to go to bed. For years on end. And then listening to people and their emotional shit is fucking exhausting. Being like having too much to do, feeling like you're never gonna get everything done is exhausting. And there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Not even.
No,
Could've
I
had
can
a
see.
kid.
I can see where there's some parents. There's some. Well, I wouldn't call them parents, but some people
Are they adults
They
with
like-
children?
they out their kids. Like they just like leave them in
They're
a
sperm
forest.
and egg
or,
donors is what they are.
Now,
okay.
now I know where like the Hansel and Gretel story comes from. That's like a real life situation there.
No, that comes from don't explore too much.
No. Let's have a serious conversation
that
about
sounds
this.
entirely way too religious.
Maybe it's also a guidebook for parents who just had enough. How many kids do you think?
Just had enough.
How many parents do you think like their kids, like they did that to their kids after like reading that book? You're like, oh, remember that child's story we read way back when? Like, let's make that a reality. And then like, how many birds ate the breadcrumbs, and the breadcrumbs weren't there for the children to follow back home. And then the child just died. Or was raised by wolves, and then it turned into a sweet Disney
feral
movie.
kid. Oh, I love feral children.
Yeah, dude.
They're great. Yeah, dude.
But hats
I would
off to parents,
imagine
dude.
that that's where leaving kids in hot cars comes into play, like nowadays.
Oh yeah, they're like, I had no clue. I can understand though, like forgetting a child. Sometimes I forget like the most obvious shit, so I can see like forgetting a child. But
I would
I
say
don't know.
if you're like
Maybe on the roof.
underslept, if like
That I can
super
see.
underslept and stressed
Yeah.
out, everything's chaotic. I could get forgetting your kid. I mean, it seems absurd because it's a living being, and I've flipped out about this before, but
Yeah, and it's also, but
I think
it's the entire root of your stress and tiredness.
Yeah.
So to forget that,
Yeah.
kind of seems crazy.
you know, to be
Yeah.
pretty absent-minded.
that's why I always feared that if I did have a child, like I'd go back to using drugs,
Oh, I
just because
absolutely
like
would.
the added stress and shit. Like that's really a lot of the drug addiction comes from like stress management. I don't know how to manage it well, and I don't know how to say no to people when I'm like overworked. So like
I'm
drugs would
tired.
help.
No.
that. Yeah, I know it's super hard, and that's what like I've told your dad before. Like I'm one of those guys. You got to push me to a limit to where I'm like, fucking go kill yourself. Like once
Yeah.
you get me there, though, like I'm fucking mad and shit, and there's no turning back, and I'm hateful. But you know how long it takes me to get to that point. Like I will go above and beyond for
Right.
people that just are getting over on me before I'm like, well, fucking, I'm about to lose my shit.
You know, I used to
And
be
even then,
like
it's
that.
questionable.
Yeah.
And I got tired of it, so I started just saying no. And now, I mean, it's almost impossible for me to not say no.
Yeah, I know.
Because I like not doing things so much.
Oh,
that-
way better.
Yeah, it's so fucking great.
That's why if
I will almost do nothing for no one.
committing to something, if I tell somebody I'm going to do it, like I pretty much won't back out. Like my leg could fall off and I'd break my hand, and I'd still be like, I'll be there Monday at 9.
I
you know.
still got another hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, I mean, the commitment part of it, I really stand behind it. I think that's why I did well in prison, because a lot of times all you have is your word and like what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I would always commit, and I'm like 100% there. But man, it feels good to say no. Like Sarah taught me that with an electrical company I work for, and once I finally got available enough to like right there where I can say no,
Yeah.
it's just the weight of the
wonderful.
world lifted.
Yeah.
It
Hell
feels
yeah.
like shit, because I guess we beat ourselves up because we're like, we have to. Well, some people, not we, but some people are like, well, I have to get this done. I have to be that guy that they can call.
They
know.
asked me to. I have to say yes.
Yeah, and I think
fuck that.
I think romanticizing what people do for you sometimes like makes it worse. So you do something very small for me, but then ask something big from me, right? And then I do that because I feel like that small thing you did just warrants saying yes to everything you asked for.
From now until the end of time, if you ask me to do something, I'm going to do it because
I'm in your
you grab
debt.
my mail.
Yeah. So it was.
You grab my
I
mail.
I stayed with a girlfriend for a long time, more than I should have.
Yeah, that bitch was
Because
nuts.
she bailed me out of jail when I got in a car wreck with Adam, and she got me out enough time to see his funeral. And that's I stayed with her until I went back to prison.
Should I give it up to her for that, though? It's like the one thing about her that I truly love is that she was like, well, I got to get him out. That's great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have missed his funeral. That's
Yeah.
horrible.
Well,
pretty horrible.
that time that I went when we got in the car wreck, right?
Right, yeah.
I was headstrong about like not using drugs. And then the lady at the hospital was
know.
like, hey, do you want something for the pain? And I told her, I was like, yo, I can't take pain medicine. So no, she was like, I'm not talking about that kind of pain, right? And I'm like, well, then sure. I was like, yeah, if it's not, whatever. I think she gave me a Valium. It was a very strong one,
Yeah.
right? And
Probably
like
'cause it
I
was
was
IV.
crying the entire time, like that. I was freaking out, and the cop was like, look, there's a homicide downtown. We probably won't take you to jail. And I'm freaking out, right? Well, they were doing that long enough to give me the Valium, right? And then they give me the Valium, and I'm fucking like just done, just fucking neutral on everything.
I know, dude.
And I was zoned out, and then the cop would, come in with the handcuffs. He's like, all right, now we can go because they're checking you out. And I'm like, you
You're like,
fucking
"Great,
did this
man."
on purpose.
Uh-huh.
But when they took me into jail and I was finally checked in, I slept from the time that they checked me in until they called my name to go. I woke up like I was like, this was all a dream. But I mean, of course it wasn't.
That
but
sucks.
I don't know what they put, like what volume is, but that shit like will just neutral the fuck out of anything you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me sleep for an entire like day and a half.
Yeah.
I was out
I
cold.
always enjoyed Valium, or what's the other one? Not Xanax, but the other one that's kind of more mild.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed them.
Klonopin?
Klonopin, yeah. Klonopin was the best because it just makes you so neutral. It's just
Yeah.
everything is like, I don't even give a fuck.
This
And
is
Yeah.
fun.
it doesn't make you forget everything unless you take way too fucking many, like Xanax does. Xanax, you could take like a nibble of a crumb and you're not gonna know what happened for the next week. But
I
I always liked
speaking
when I'd
of-
wake up and I'd like, why is this here?
Yeah. Speaking of Klonopin, I was working at the zoo for a while, right? And then they had this leopard, I think, if I'm not mistaken, snow leopard that had anxiety issues. I kid you not, man, anxiety
Yeah.
issues. And they said that she's standoffish and she hides and she doesn't really come out a lot because of this. They had a sign for it. So I'm working, I'm running pipe in her captivity area. And there was
pipe.
a whole bottle. They give big cats like that, like medicine that they give us, but
Yeah.
they like triple or quadruple the dose
Right.
because it's a huge fucking cat.
Yeah.
But could you imagine like a cat just on Klonopin all day long, just chilled out?
Slap
fucking-
it and take its steak and it doesn't care.
They don't even care. It's
like,
just like,
that's
fuck.
cool, man. Another one will come.
Yeah. They seem to bring one every few hours.
Yeah.
That was a baffling realization for me to see like a animal getting like human medicine. I was like, what? They're drugging the shit out of this cat.
Hell yeah.
But the cat probably didn't hardly feel it and it was just laid back. And it would too. It would lay on that rock for hours, dude, just zoned out. I'm like, I get it now,
See,
dude.
like I kind of think that if I were king of America, we'll say, I would want everybody to be on that kind of shit like,
Yeah.
all the time, and
Fuck yes.
not so that I could more easily rule them,
So people would
but
chill the fuck
yeah,
out.
just say like no more road rage. Mm-hmm. No more getting pissed off at a guy in line.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just
And
yeah.
you could people could work, especially laborers could work longer hours with like less breaks and shit, and for a longer length in their life. So
Look, you're over here thinking about like slave labor, and he's
No,
just thinking
no.
about my
Like, they
world would
used
be
to
better.
use,
just make everybody not pissed off.
in the mountains in what is it, Colombia and shit, they would actually just chew the coca leaf
Yeah.
so that they could absorb more oxygen in a thinner atmosphere while they were working on top of the mountains and shit. So there was a reason for that leaf other than cocaine. It was they would eat that and then it would open up their whatever
Their stuff.
vascular whatever. They could absorb more oxygen at a thinner rate. But no,
Vascular
I'm not.
difference.
I'm saying like they would give
joking.
shipmates and stuff and seamen. They would give cocaine or whatever to work longer because they had to stay up late so
the
the
good
ship
old
wouldn't
days.
sink and stuff. And it's not like they're giving it to unwilling participants. Like these people want to work longer, so they, I feel like that if we did that, if we ran America like that, where everything was legal to a sense and you could take it responsibly, like
I
you
know
do
it's
drinking.
required.
Yeah.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
it's
There's an
required.
endless supply. It will never run out. Everyone gets one every day.
It's
Or
our,
two.
it's
whatever
our
you
number
need.
one industry.
I think about like my dad, knowing that he'll probably work, you know, and not retire. He'll probably work until he's 89. Well, until he can't work, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if he was allowed to have like pain medication, like narcotic pain medication, and be able to take it how he needed to go to work, he could work until he's like 80, 90. I mean, eventually you're going to fall apart. But,
Well,
you know, if you want to do it, that's your choice, just like skydiving, right? We don't say nothing about that.
no
But
shit.
it's crazy the amount of like propaganda pushed on drugs, because just like think
On a
about like
lot
when you
of
talk
stuff.
when you talk to like an older generation, or just really anybody who's unintelligent on chemicals, not so much like drugs, but just chemicals in general, man. And there's a bad stigma on any drug that makes you feel good. Like any of them.
Well, it's just misinformation. They don't give you proper education on shit.
You think with the way things are, you know, women are like, my body, my choice. Like, no woman out there would ever rag on some drugs.
No, right?
Like, it's my body, it's my choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how you don't want people reaping your children.
Yeah,
I just want to eat some drugs.
yeah.
Eat
And
some
you to
drugs.
leave me alone.
Yeah.
Do you see that shit with, I think it's Georgia.
The state or the,
Yeah, the
Okay.
state. They'll like prosecute anyone who, I think it's after 6 weeks, they'll give you a murder charge.
oh, yeah.
I saw a thing that said like, if you're
Explain
gonna get a,
deeper. What are you talking about?
oh, for having an abortion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
then
they
you're a
changed it.
murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing I saw said, so if you're gonna catch a murder charge for aborting your baby, like just kill your rapist. Like if whatever
Yeah,
it is
dude.
that happened.
Put the baby up for abortion, adoption. Put the baby up for, abortion.
You know, when
And then
when
kill
it,
your rapist. It's best of both worlds.
when it comes
yeah.
down to it, that argument falls solely on, right? It doesn't. I don't give a shit what anybody says. The argument of my body, my choice, or abortion in general, is all based on religion, specifically the Christian religion.
They just want to tell you what the fuck to do with your body.
Yeah, it
Well, I
makes
mean, if this
no
was a
sense.
Jewish nation, I figured they'd run the same bullshit.
Well, yeah. So I guess any religion would be like, oh, well, everything's a life supply. It's bullshit. That is like the weakest argument to any.
It's that weak shit.
But that
It's,
shit.
It's terrible to base anything off of a book that you can't prove's true anyways. We've been through that. Not talking about that again. But it's fucking ridiculous that all this fighting and protesting and all that shit over something that you say is a sin. Maybe. Could be.
Right?
Nobody
you
knows.
just don't think that someone should be able to do something.
You just want to control them in a sense.
Well,
I feel
and
like we need to look into like pro-life atheists. See what percentage that is.
Dude,
Pro-life.
for real. I
Like
need to look into that
4%.
shit.
Yeah. I feel like that a lot better than the. I just don't understand it, right? Because a lot of people in politics now, like, is based on religion. Like a lot of politicians, they play that card, knowing that they're fucking doing drugs and fucking kids and whatever.
That ties into the shit. Like, I forgot. Like, I saw something that made me angry, and then I forgot, and I wanted to talk about it. But that reminded me. So,
Nice.
thanks to the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about how they want to handle. They're talking about not giving communion to politicians that are pro-choice. So,
Gotcha.
I mean,
fucked.
it started with Biden because he's the second Catholic president we've had.
Yeah.
The other
Right.
was
Kennedy.
Kennedy. Obviously. There you go.
That's
That's
my dog.
Yeah, so I mean, I think some of like the higher ups are like, look, this goes against the spirit of it. We can't just refuse people because of what they're pushing politically.
Yeah.
And then there are some they're like, no, fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's shitty
corrupt.
that, like, based on whether or not you go to church, you believe in Jesus Christ, your Savior, died on the cross, all this stuff. Based on that, people judge you morally. That's what fucking kills me. Like,
Yeah.
you should only base me off the actions that I do within this lifetime, which is generally under 100 years, is all you have here, right? We don't know nothing before or beyond. Like, you have these 100 years if you're fucking lucky. And that's why
Well, I mean,
Why? Deny
yeah.
people and control and fight and debate whether or not like this is a sin or something. Nobody fucking knows. And the thing is, they're gonna be right. One day the world Armageddon is gonna happen. One day the world will end. But it might be, 10,000 years from now.
Right?
And you deny yourself your entire life, the 100 years that you may or may not have.
It's obedience.
Yeah. For fucking what? Like, go get your abortion and fuck them.
But I mean, that's said
Yeah.
from a perspective of somebody that doesn't believe what they believe.
But it comes from a place where I did believe what they believed for a long time, but just because my parents, almost to like an indoctrination type thing, and my grandparents went, and then everybody in the church, it was like an indoctrinated way of life. Because even I had a girlfriend, and my first girlfriend, right? Her mom like slapped her and forced her to go to Catholic. She was like, I want to go to a different church and kind of view my options, right? No, like that family was like, drug her to church,
Yeah.
to the Catholic church. My fault. I didn't know if I mentioned that, but
It was assumed. Yeah.
forced. And the girl, I'm not gonna mention her name, but was just like, I want to know other options. I want to see if this is the life I want.
Is her name Erica?
No, no, that was so far away from it though, but that's cool.
But that's cool.
No, but it's shitty, man, because like I don't know. I think most of the time, no, not the majority. It's probably minority, but the people in a church do the most wrong shit and think that they're morally right because they go to church and they confess those sins. You know what I mean?
Well, there's that brand new song, where he's talking about his kid, the path he's gonna walk is narrow and straight. And he's like, I'll hold his head under the lake before I ever let him go to the wolves.
Yeah.
And then let's just say hypothetically these people are right. Their book holds the truth, and if their kids do these things, they're going to hell. So all this horrible, stupid shit that they're doing on an earthly level is good for the afterlife. That's only if they're right, which
Right.
obviously they're not. But if they were, power to.
Yeah, I just.
But you're
it's,
not, so shut the fuck
shocking,
up.
man. It's shocking how people just like waste the time they do have here on Earth. That's like a petty argument, right? And it's petty to try to force people to either believe or like what they do with their body. Like you're a pitiful piece of shit for passing a law that charges them with murder
But think
because
about
they
it,
want to
think
have
about it
abortion.
like an
Ridiculous.
old-timey perspective, before we knew that germs were what
Oh yeah.
were bad, They're like, hey, wash your hands. Don't do this shit. You're going to get sick. What do you mean I'm going to get sick? I can't see it. It's nothing. They're like,
Yeah.
you fucking idiot. And they're like, these people over here, they're down to me because I don't wash my hands. I'm worried about germs. Fucking queers worried
What?
about germs. But they were right.
The timeline of that, though, think about that, right? It's the one doctor that they kept having like after birth deaths, like so the mom would end up dying or whatever. And what was happening was they weren't washing their hands. He said washing. I don't know the exact doctor, but I'll put it in the fucking comments or whatever if I do.
Dove.
But he said that, and then it took a long time for people to do it, and then a lot of people come out to disprove them and put propaganda out to like, to get around the whole washing hand thing. It's very small and minute. But think about like over the timeline and hundreds and thousands of years that humans have roamed this earth and how slow our growth is because of these stupid, useless arguments, right?
Right.
Like these stupid opinion-based arguments or moral-based arguments. Like we could progress so much further if we just do. Don't even fucking like control people. Don't look for profit. Don't build capitalist societies and force other countries to join in. Like, just fucking do. But like, it's not gonna ever happen, though, is
But
it?
then if you're in the minority and you're
Yeah.
just doing, even though you're right, the masses could be in the majority, and then they outweigh you, they outnumber you, and then your progress is all doomed because you didn't
Then
pay
it
them the
could set you
proper
back.
attention.
Yeah, and it could set you back.
It's like, oh, we
hundreds
have
of
1,000 fire ants under the house. Yeah, I could step on all of them, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep building my house.
So this survey,
Termites would have been a good.
its sample size was like 1,100, but 11% of the atheists thought that abortion should be illegal.
Interesting.
2% said they don't know.
Agnostic atheists. Chicken shits.
Chicken
I
shits.
just don't-
They're like, that's perfect.
That argument makes
I have no
sense.
idea.
Like, you're not even forming, and I'm not saying anything, I'm not saying it's right, but when you're in the womb and stuff, you're not to the best of our knowledge. Now, way back in the deepest corners of your brain, I'm sure there's a traumatic little section that was childbirth for you, right? But when it comes down to it, you're not forming those, you don't feel pain, none of that shit. They're just sucking this thing that hasn't created memories or anything. Like, this argument is so crazy. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why Georgia went with 6 weeks, which is ridiculous because you don't form a placenta until 6 weeks. So it's not technically getting any nutrients or, it's not living. It's not surviving through your
God,
body.
Don't even go down that argument.
But that's why they chose 6 weeks, is because at that point you have a placenta and now it's alive,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is absurd.
Well, I feel like the basest argument for it is, it's building. There's some sort of growth going on, and where there's growth, there's life. But what's the fastest pregnancy test? Like, what's the earliest that you can know?
2 weeks.
I don't actually know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I was thinking it was more like 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, and no one notices they're pregnant until they're like 6 or 8 weeks pregnant. I mean, seriously, no one, but
yeah.
it's
I'm thinking if you pay
uncommon.
attention to it, you have a period roughly once a month. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, I missed it. Oh, man. So, you might be 2-3 weeks pregnant at that time. Could you then just go to the clinic there and say, like, I just want a preemptive abortion? I don't know if there's anything in there, but can you suck whatever's
Just
in there
do
out?
it.
In case.
Yeah.
In case.
Send in the
abortion.
bots. Give it a once over.
Well, and that again is assuming that you miss your period. Not everybody does.
Yeah.
So this one says
that is a vast minority, though.
6.
Isn't it?
No, I mean I think it's fairly common, but I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Get results up to 6 days before your missed period, which still isn't really
it
an
really
answer.
doesn't answer.
But
That's
Yeah.
that's pretty fucking fast, though.
Did you see where? Because before China and they couldn't. So you could only have like one child, right? They had to up that because now it's like 2 children because they were having a crisis of whatever.
No
what's that
workers?
called when you reproduce, right? When you're reproducing, they had a population crisis where people weren't reproducing. Like they didn't have a lot of, because they work very hard. Women and like the relationship stuff, like that's been a thing. Like, it's a known thing where you overworked or whatever, and they don't have like relations, stuff like that. Whatever. I don't know how to say that like correctly, but it's just they don't like. It's just something that happens over there. It's like
they're overworked and they're still expected to raise kids.
Yeah.
Because the population needs to rise.
right. They need more, but they were having a population crisis, and now they can have 2. So my question is, in China, if you have one, do they tie your tubes? And if not, if you're pregnant with your second, do they go ahead and just abort it when they, do they
I've
forcibly
always
abort?
wondered that too. I don't know.
I was under the impression that they like penalized you monetarily.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I could
Like
be
over
wrong.
a life, whatever. I got you. That could probably be right.
And isn't it a thing where like whenever they have whenever there was the one kid thing, didn't they want boys?
Yeah,
And then if they had girls, they just sell them.
that's rough.
They offered economic incentives to families with fewer children.
Yeah.
This will take me a while. Y'all can.
So do you think they'll give economic incentives to people with 2 kids now?
Probably, I would say because of like the reverse of what they did before. Now that they absolutely need it, because with their substantial growth, they need even more people to do everything that they have going on. So I would say that now they're like, we'll, almost pay you to have another kid if you've already had one or if you've already raised a child. Like, we'll pay you to do that. I can see where they would do the incentive for the reverse. Like, now we need you to have 2.
7 years from now is probably the ideal time to invade them.
Yeah.
This is citizens who did have more than one child would either be taxed an amount up to 50%
Damn.
Jesus, of their income or punished by loss of employment or other
Damn.
benefits.
Yeah.
Yep, not having kids.
I wish we did that
that's
here.
crazy.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, and
At least in the low income areas.
And you kind of need to. Well, in the low income areas, you'll have families that, we watch Coal Country, and they had like 12 kids, bro.
Well, and I think
that's not
just across the board. There needs to be. I think Dan Cummins has a thing about implanting a chip in people that makes it to where you can't get pregnant until you're the age of 25, and at that point you have to take a test. If you pass this test, it's like basic parenting things and like financial stability. And if you can pass this test, then we'll turn your chip off and you can get pregnant.
it's
I love
the
that
truth,
idea.
though, because that's what I'm saying. Like, so, and the bad thing is, like, what you progress and what you do in life really depends on, like, your parents, like, their status, how much money they have, how many opportunities you have. Because you have a lot of rich families, right, that have a kid with no talent or skill, mediocre at best, and they send him or her to the best schools and the best opportunities and the best whatever. And then you'll have a child that was born into, working class family. So let's give them whatever.
I was going to say
close to
squalor,
poverty.
but yeah.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. And they have 5 to 10 kids, and they can't hardly take care of all of them and give them all the attention. Well, that kid, let's say you have one of those kids are super smart, very skilled and talented and all this, but they don't have the opportunities that rich kid that's mediocre does, right? You're going to have a lot of people at the top that are mediocre, and they just do the status quo, where you could have, if the lower income kid had all the opportunities, his skills and talents could be amplified, 10 times what they are in that family. So you're doing a disservice to kids that you have 10 of them, and you're white trash fucking like living in a trailer. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not benefiting that kid. Why are you having 10 of them when you couldn't hardly take care of one?
Because I want to.
Yeah.
Because
maybe
it's
the
God's
11th
plan.
one will make me happy.
Right?
Yeah.
Unplanned pregnancies or pregnancies without the proper authorization would need to be terminated.
There you go.
And then
There
this
you
says,
go.
in the early 80s, sterilization target goals were set. Tubal ligations, vasectomies, and abortions amounted to 35% of the total birth control methods.
Nice, dude.
Brutal.
That's but you're extremely right. A lot of that, and then we've talked about it before, and like drug addiction and shit, and treatment plans and programs. Like you'll have a mother that had 6 kids, they were all taken, and now she's pregnant with the 7th, and the government's gonna allow her to have that kid. For what reason? Nobody fucking knows.
Freedom.
Like, I guess, dude.
Yeah.
It's just bad. Yeah, I mean, it's what it comes down to, and our government benefits off of the lower class family having a bunch of kids, because now we have a lot of kids that are going to take up those mediocre jobs and work like a slave.
And they'll join the military.
Oh, the military too. And they're not smart enough to think for themselves, so they'll blindly follow the military. You know what I mean? They'll do their service in honor or whatever.
And they're like, oh, I can get in here, and then they'll pay for my college that I'll flunk out of.
Yeah. It's fucking shitty, dude. And I hate
mean,
to
some
say
of
that,
them
like,
are smart enough, but the ones I'm ridiculing are not.
I don't fucking hate America, right? I love what it could be, but I feel like we are very far from what it could be. You know
It's
what
like
I mean?
if a band you like puts out a terrible album. I don't hate this album. I just
Could
think
be
it could be better.
Could be better, man. because it's one of the greatest places to be born. Like, you're very lucky if you're born in the United States of America. You really are, right?
Traditionally.
You're white.
Tradition.
It kind of feels like it's being less that now.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Oh,
getting
yeah.
a bit chaotic.
But I feel like we're gonna have to get uncomfortable to change, right? Like, there's no we're just gonna fucking like smoothly enter this.
Yeah, let's just do it because it's smart.
Yeah.
No.
It's gonna be rough, right?
Let's do it because the people that make the decisions are finally suffering.
Yeah. And the bad thing is, dude, when climate change really hits the peak where it's inhabitable, we're gonna fight. Like, the people that are working class and shit are really gonna feel it. And for people who are like the conspiracy theorists, like, nope, that's fucking false and it's a false flag and whatever. Dude, they did. I went back to read up on the studies that they did, like Exxon did, and by 1970, they had a fucking mapped out plan of what it was gonna be, how bad it was gonna get, where they were gonna move when the shit hit. Like, not only did they prove that we were expediting the process of climate change, like, we were making it substantially worse by what we were pumping in, but it didn't matter as long as the profits were coming each year, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like these changes are going to come, and it's going to be very uncomfortable, man. But I think, though, if the system can fall, we can actually build something better.
A new.
Yeah.
Atop
If
the
we can get
rubble.
away from the status quo and actually build something that benefits us materialistically, and not just like a facade of change and a facade of a better tomorrow doing the same thing.
Did,
You know what I mean?
a
Sorry, get
dude.
back.
Karate wisdom from Adam.
Karate wisdom. Oh, I like this.
I just think it's baffling. Like they say in drug addiction, where like insanity, you just like keep fucking doing it and expect something different to happen. Like, I feel like we've been in a constant state of that for like 200 years at this point.
Chaos, yeah.
They're just like, just keep doing what we're doing. It'll work out. Like they're
Well, I mean, they say that so that they can just continue to profit and live comfortably.
Yeah.
And then when it hits the fan, they know where to go.
Oh, and
The
they're gonna be
masses don't. But then,
they're gonna be comfortable.
You know, when you were talking about, you say like, oh, the deserts and shit. You know, because I was talking about Egypt and all that crap. You know, you're like, oh, it was lush. You know, and there's water.
yeah.
You know? I watched a video this dude made where like he went to I forget exactly what country it's in, but it's that shit in the west of Africa. It's like the Eye of the Sahara, where they say it might have been Atlantis and stuff.
Yeah.
So like he traveled through all that shit. One, it's a motherfucker to get there.
I guarantee it.
But once he got there, like, you know, there's just sand everywhere. But there's also like buttloads of salt and stuff. It kind of, you know, implies that there was ocean there.
Yeah.
But the idea of that shit happening naturally, why even bother with the whole humans are speeding up climate change, because it's like everybody's gonna die. Oh, they're speeding up the death, you know. Who
Yeah,
gives a
well,
shit?
that's what it's always the. That's why I feel like they know more than we do on that, since because it makes you wonder. Because if we're headed for inevitable, just like heat and fucking just drought and fires and all this, like there's no way to change it. Now, if there's no way to change it, make it better or whatever, or divert, get away from it.
Fucking just ball out of control.
Then I
until the
understand
end.
it. Yeah, I understand the just like fucking push forward. Let's do this. One day we're gonna die, right? And it's gonna be horrible, right? I get that. I can get my head around it. But if substantial change and net zero carbon will actually fucking change the world, wouldn't you rather do that? Like, why is this even an argument? Why are we even fighting about it? Like, because it can be done.
It definitely seems like there's some shit that's going on that they're not saying. Because if you can literally change, which we haven't actually watched this, it was just in the trailer. It was a very long trailer, but they were talking
About
about
20 minutes.
they were talking about climate change and how 2020 to 2030 is going to be the most important decade for humanity, because this is our last chance. If you don't make changes, it will be inhabitable on this fucking planet, and it's going to be terrible. Fuck.
Uninhabitable.
Oh, what'd I say?
Inhabitable.
Oh, uninhabitable. Yeah.
I was
I've
just
said it
thinking,
too.
everybody knows. If they don't know, fuck them, they're being jerks.
Thank you all for being nice. But if that's true or not true, I guess, if like these experts think this, but the people like behind the scenes don't think this, like, oh, what's their reason? I just need
I
to
don't
know.
know. It reminds me of the movie Armageddon when they know this huge asteroid is headed for Earth and they don't tell anybody.
Yeah, because they don't want panic.
Panic.
So
Yeah.
they're like, these experts will just keep saying that it's possible
Yeah.
until a certain point. And at like the last minute, I'm sure they'll change everything and it'll be great.
By
but
then, Affleck won't care.
If history has shown us anything, and I hate to go back to that, but if history has shown us anything, we will completely fuck up the next, 2020 to 2030.
2030, for
we
sure.
will fuck
Yeah.
it up, and
Or
then
if you
we'll
look
be,
back at when America won World War II,
Oh, God.
look at what we can accomplish. You dumb
What?
son of a bitch.
Anything.
That's why I think people are so comfortable with the fact that like technology has progressed kind of without even like us even trying. It kind of did it, we feel like it did it itself. And there's always somebody that comes up with a miraculous save at the very end of things. And all of our movies tell us a hero is going to come in at the last minute. And we're all just accustomed to this way of like, oh, it's just going to do it and we're going to be fine. And in reality, when it comes to that, like when the world's burning, there's gonna be they're gonna be like, oh, we should have listened and stuff like that. It's gonna be painful.
Nah, you see,
and
it's
then you're gonna be
not.
begging somebody.
Because all the religious people, their faith is going to form
Oh,
one big worm of faith, and then divine
worm.
intervention is going to save all of us. So that's why we don't need to worry about it.
Well, there's
Yeah.
this
Big
thing.
faith worm.
Big faith worm.
People just, if they don't see it, they haven't directly experienced it, it's not happening. It's not real. It doesn't impact me. That's exactly what's going on. They can't see the world about to fucking burn. So just whatever. I'm
Just
gonna-
go into Walmart one day and chill there and look at the stupidity that walks in and out of that. And I know
real.
you'd be a part of the stupidity being there. I get that. Ooh, we're all the same. But what I'm saying is like, just look, that people that don't
We're
think
better.
beyond today, they don't think beyond the paycheck that's coming on Friday. They don't think beyond the decisions they're making to buy the bag of chips at Walmart and shit. They don't think beyond themselves. Like,
Right.
I just don't understand how you don't recognize that there's a world outside of the brain, right? There's a world outside of here.
I bought a bag of chips yesterday at Whole Foods.
Oh.
Pastrami on rye.
You're worthless.
Pastrami on rye.
You're so worthless.
I'm among the elite.
You're a sheep.
I try to like be that same like base my thoughts and reactions to things the same way. And I know it's hard. Like it's super hard because I'll get fucked up about like everyday bullshit. And I know you forget those things, but in general, like I'm always thinking like outside of myself, like being compassionate, being empathetic, being, trying to like
Being good.
be different than. But most people, like, they think about themselves like they're just in their car, like getting to point A to point B.
I feel like
Point
that
B is going to be a burning
Maybe
inferno.
that's just the loudest people that are doing that. Because if most people were doing that, this place I feel like would be a lot worse than it is.
Yeah.
So it's just,
It's
hey,
pretty
look
bad,
at
but
those
not as
stupid
worse.
loud mice down there. But look at these cool, quiet elephants.
Little mice.
What do you think?
So
What do you think
cute.
death's going to be like when you take
Like
your
the
last
actual
breath?
process of death, or like
No, like
after
when
it?
after, like, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think? I mean, what do you think? Do we come back? Is our energy stored within this ball of a universe, and do we come back as another entity somewhere else, or some here on Earth? Like, what do you think?
I feel like we end up in another universe altogether.
Entirely, just
Yeah.
like.
But well, I mean, if you want to look at things in the sense of the multiverse, but if you think of the idea of the universe, where it's like everything in existence is all here, it's just a different section of it,
Yeah.
then we would end up in a different section of it.
That's why I really want to try like the 5-MeO DMT. I've done like NN-DMT, which is more of just like a trip and entities and stuff. It's still super crazy. But the other one, they say that the way they express it, it sounds just like death. Like pretty much, you become time and space and energy and all that. You become that.
That'd be fucking
and you
trippy.
understand everything. And it's pretty much just a white light that you're a part of. And they can't really explain it, like how they feel but they're like, time doesn't matter there. Time isn't a thing. They are time. They are space. They are energy. They are everything in this moment of the trip or whatever. Now I've always it scares the shit out of me, man, because seeing people do it.
If you
scares
watch
the
people
shit
do
out.
that shit,
Yeah.
you would not want to do
Some
that
of
shit.
them.
It's just my personal view that with stuff like that, it's like we instinctively know that's what's going to happen. Like you become one with the everything.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have egos,
Yeah.
our ego is the one freaking out. But like our soul self or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is like, oh, yeah, this is what I've always been.
Hell yeah.
And you guys like, oh, it's different. What the fuck? I miss my Sega.
My Sega.
Wait, I am Sega.
It's like trying to wake up in the morning and think of yourself, like all that happens, right? Like try to imagine, like, could you let go of those things that like you truly love and adore and care for? Like, can you just let those, because you're going to have to, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you ever had or wanted is going to be no more, right?
Yeah, I
There's
was
gonna
thinking
come
about that
day.
crap a little earlier before I made tea.
And look at y'all being on the same page.
Yeah, man.
Aw.
You
And
got
I
to
thought-
like run it through your head, like actual scenario shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty messed up. I feel like, yeah, because I mean, inevitably I'll have to, but I'll resist it.
Yeah.
I'll be making deals. You know?
Like if I don't have an option, I do much better in situations like I need in my life. I need things to be a certain way. Like I
Yeah.
have a routine. I have things I do. I might mix it up, but it's the same.
Yeah.
I like that. I appreciate it. But if I'm thrown into a situation where I know it can't be that way,
Yeah.
I do just fine.
Exactly.
But if my daily routine gets fucked, I'll flip my shit. It's,
dude.
So I think
I think even your routine plays into your ego,
Yeah.
right? So your ego will make it hard for you to let go of that routine. So even if you're thrown into death, I think that you'll still try to resist it because
like-
of
I'll just be like, just give me drugs, I'll be fine.
So I kind of look at it like whenever the acid or the shrooms start kicking in, you know, you start feeling it, and you're like, oh shit, wait, this isn't what I was ready for. So it's like if you're out camping or whatever, like you're in the woods, you're like a mile and a half from anything that can help you,
Yeah.
and it starts to downpour. You're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I guess I'll figure
But
this
if
out.
you're in a car
Yeah.
and you're driving and it starts raining and they're like, you're going to have to walk back in this, you're like, oh, fuck off.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like, you know, if you're in it, it's like, oh, this is inescapable. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, we're doing this and it's going to be fun.
But then the hope of the escape is what makes everything terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think too
It
that
doesn't have to be this way, but it is. Damn
Yeah,
it.
but it
going to.
absolutely is. Fuck your hope. Let it go. So
it's like the
ego is hope.
you were talking about abortion and shit like that, and a lot of Christians.
You were
would-
talking about it.
Well, we were
I
all
did
talking about
more because I love abortion.
it. But you know, when we
abortion.
downplay like animal life and shit like that, and we kill animals that are sickly, or we kill
Like a newt.
for food, like we kill animals all the time. We don't care. We do it with the trash that we throw out. We do it with, you know, all that. And you don't think twice about that. People don't. And I'm not one of those people that are animal activists through and through or whatever, but I'm very compassionate when it comes to animals, especially like ones that walk out onto the road.
Saves
Shit.
them
I'll
on
crash
the
my
road
car.
and takes them to lakes and stuff.
I'll crash me and you just not to hit like a squirrel, pretty much.
I
Because
hope
I
if we're ever in
feel
a
it.
crash together, my last words are, "You chose it over me."
You will, dude. It will. I swear. And that's the thing too. Like, I don't understand how we can be so dead set on abortion being wrong or somebody being murdered when you do it every single day to the animals
To
that you kill to
something else,
eat.
yeah.
You know, that's something that I mean, it's been proven. They have thought. They have memory. They have
Consciousness.
consciousness. Because you can't
But they
define
don't
it.
have
You
reading
don't know how to explain it.
comprehension, and that's why they need to die.
Yeah, because reading is what makes this so good.
And how do we know that? Like, we don't not saying that whatever, but they have a form of what they would express as like reading.
What
or
if
they're
they
reading
can just
your expression,
only read in German and we just don't have any German books laying around? I actually have one. We
I
should
think
see.
the Germans would let us know that.
No.
The Germans.
It would be the best kept secret. Are you kidding me? If you knew your cats could read, would you tell anyone?
Yeah,
No.
I'd be telling everybody.
I definitely put it on the
Charge them
internet.
$5
Yeah.
to come see it.
Yeah.
I'll translate
but-
for you.
I just
You want
feel
to come
like
hang
if
out with my
it's,
cat?
if it's that way for little babies in a womb, it has to be that way for everything. And people, but we've always been taught like animals aren't fucking, they're whatever, disposable, throw them away, kill them, eat them, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck
Put
'em.
it slave labor
Fuck 'em.
for that matter.
Yeah.
When it comes to horses, things that you put in captivity.
This is our horse
Zoos.
slave labor camp.
The only thing that a zoo is good for, the only thing that a zoo accomplishes and should accomplish is keeping a species alive. That does not deserves to be alive, but isn't
Endangered
causing
species
a nuisance.
zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to breed endangered species and keep it going, right? That's all they're supposed to do. But no, you put them on display. You put them in very small, confined spaces. I worked at
kill
a
'em
zoo
when a
for a
kid
while,
rushes 'em.
and they wouldn't let you take pictures of the housing that they put them in, like at night or when the day is over at the zoo, because they were so small and so like just not great conditions. And if you were caught putting pictures of the back area online, you would be fired. Like
It'd be
you
like
couldn't
you
come back
living
to
in
the
a dog
States.
crate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fuck that.
And you're talking about like gorillas and chimpanzees and shit. Like they are pretty fucking in it.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So you are confining that and slave labor for like horses or mules or whatever. You know what I mean? You don't ask them
You
if you
upset
can do
about
it.
horses, babe?
Yeah.
I'm upset that
Did
we
you see a
don't
pretty
value
one?
all life. Like if you want to value a
Right,
human baby
absolutely.
that doesn't even know how to do anything, well, in the
do you
womb,
wanna do you want to value centipedes?
I do.
He does.
Damn
I
it!
do, man. I don't kill them. I
Your
put them
fucking
outside.
kindness.
Unless it just like
Lizards.
accidentally happens.
Yeah.
If there's something in the house, it is taken outside and talks to it. And yeah, dude. It's,
God.
But I
Yeah.
do that to plants too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the plants that we grow out in the front and shit. I
Yeah.
talk to everything. Like everything has a form of consciousness. It's all a part of one. But we're too fucking stupid and too, I don't know what to call that, but it's materialistic and
self-absorbed.
self-absorbed, and it's just bullshit, dude. People are, and then Christians are like the worst of them.
Actually, I'm gonna get it because I'm gonna walk out
Well,
here.
because we're the chosen ones.
Whatever.
Because Jesus said.
Or
Chosen.
what is that? What is that one religion that it's like the dude Rainn Wilson, I think is. It's like Baha'i or some shit. Is that the one where it's like they don't even kill bugs? It's
I don't
like
know.
yeah, it's essentially what you're running with, you know. It's like everything is conscious and it has its thing, it has its place, it has its value. Let's love it. Don't kill anything.
Yeah. And if you have to for survival, I mean, you fucking like you talk to it or ask the universe for that matter to, is it okay? And I apologize and thank you for your sacrifice and blah blah blah. Like I know that sounds like hippie bullshit, but in reality, like isn't that more moral and spiritual and right than Christians and their
I mean, kind of, yes. But then you have to ask yourself, do you think that planets are conscious?
planets?
Yeah. Like,
Maybe.
Do you think that Earth is alive?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so
say
then
yes.
if you think Earth is alive, then how do you feel about hurricanes and tornadoes and shit that kill people?
Ooh.
What happens when lightning strikes somebody? Is that the Earth saying, you motherfucker? Or is that just the way, is that just
way of
unconscious
things.
kind of ebb and flow of, I guess, equations of nature?
Yeah, like life and death. Like there's, yeah. I mean, I would say yeah. Well, that's if you were putting those in that term, it would be like, well, that would be a senseless death because the earth doesn't eat the body, but kind of does,
Earth
right?
doesn't eat the body.
You know what I mean? Like the
A
earth
mouth
does.
opens up.
I think we're
Yeah.
fucking stupid for putting bodies in like caskets or whatever that don't break down for thousands of years.
Yeah, you want this body, you fucking work for it,
Yeah.
Earth.
Or like in mausoleums and shit. Like, what the fuck is the like, they put my buddy in a fucking mausoleum, and I was so mad.
Yeah.
Because I want to be either burned or put in one of those tree like the bag
Yeah.
and put underneath a tree or plant it with a tree and
You know,
shit.
become a tree folk.
Yeah, dude. But you're going to put yourself in a mausoleum. Like, that's the only reason that I would justify that is the earth is like, kills a certain number of people for whatever, to feed earth. Like you're giving your body, you're sacrificing your body for earth.
Your breakfast for
Yeah.
Earth. Yeah.
For whatever organic material you have in your body that the earth needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it makes you wonder about not like coming back as something else or whatever, reincarnation, but in reality, like if we're all connected and shit like that, like your energy is stored within something. Like you may be a fucking leaf on a tree. You may be a human. You may be
What if what if
Light.
the idea of marriage with humans is just the idea of getting us used to breaking down our own individual consciousness and joining with someone else and becoming something different? So when you die, your energy goes back to the life stream, and then you're less freaking out about it. You're like, oh yeah, I'm used to all this
I like
crap.
that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a cool sentiment, but I don't know. I don't buy
I'm still
it.
not gonna kill a bug.
He's
I don't
like,
care what
I
you
am
say.
my own person. Don't tell me what to do.
I am me, bitch.
I think we only started marrying for like survival and like to progress as a being.
Yeah, and then it just became like a tradition.
Well, yeah. It's like,
That way France doesn't kill Poland.
yeah. Well,
That's
now we
right.
don't need to travel in huge groups of like people and shit to survive and like protect ourselves during the night. Like now we have homes and security systems and guns and blah, blah, blah. Like,
And fisticuffs.
yeah.
Fisticuffs.
Probably not that, but yeah.
Fisticuffs.
Hype the cuffs. I like that idea though. Kind of get you. Well, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
No fuck you.
He's like, I love bugs, but I hate my wife.
I would too if she hated bugs as much as you do.
Oh, they're terrible.
Casper.
Oh, I don't like 'em
I
all.
feel like she instinctively is just like, well, there's a bug. Deal with it.
I
You know?
wish I was like.
Also, in her defense, they're usually pretty high up. But
Oh, yeah.
anytime she deals with them, like she takes them outside and all that stuff, and I'm just like, all right, where's the paper towel? I'm killing it, throwing it in the toilet.
Yeah, if
Every-
I'm
Fuck
home
that.
alone, I feel bad for it and I apologize to it, but I'm not fucking touching it and
Yeah.
it is dying because I'm not
Mine
sitting
is,
in the house
um,
with it in here.
The ones that I have a hard time, and I'm getting better with it, dude. Throughout the like whatever, I've been getting a lot better with.
Oh no!
with
Just
bugs.
remember that time there
No.
was that like centipede thing over there. I think about that on a weekly basis.
It's wasps and bees and shit that fly. I don't know. I think it's because I got stung when I was a kid, and like I just grew that. What's it called? Phobia? Not a phobia, but I just hate
Fear?
fucking. Yeah, it's fear.
Unsettledness.
Yeah, they don't hurt that bad, but they can.
Yeah, it
hurt
still
that
sucks.
bad.
That shit fucking hurts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they
it's
fly.
intense.
Yes.
You can't. Sometimes you can't get away from. They get aggressive and shit when you're like near their nest or their kid. Like, and you're not even doing anything.
Did I tell you guys about when I was cutting grass a few weeks ago when there was like the wasp that was around and like there were some bees and shit?
No.
And I get close to them and they'd be like flying over the lawnmower and shit. And I was
Yeah.
just like, all right, look, come on. You know?
Come on now.
And then they'd,
Hit 'em with
they'd
the
get out of
dad.
the way. I'd come back and then that area would be open and then all was well. So like instead of freaking out and just like, ah,
Yeah.
it was just, come on, man.
Dude,
I
I've
was
had
like,
to.
Okay, cool.
I've been having to do that because I'll get in attics, and some of these older attics will have pretty big nests in them, and I'll have to like fish a wire close to them.
Yeah.
And I do my best not to fucking spray. And I talk to, just like you just said, I'm like, look, man, I'm not here to mess with you. Just let me do this. If you fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck with you. And you don't want that. I don't want that trouble.
You're gonna hurt
You don't
me. I'm
want
gonna hate it. I'm gonna kill you. You're
Yeah.
gonna hate it.
Let's just be together.
And it's where knock on wood, it's worked out. You know, in general,
dude.
like I haven't been fucked up in an attic yet, but
See, like before Engel, I always thought that stuff was stupid. But then seeing the way he is with things, it's like that is absolutely
Oh
true.
my God! Look at Dad.
Yeah.
He had creatures land on him and he's fucking talking to him.
like,
What in the world? Fucking.
What's up, little buddy guy?
Yeah, dude. I try, but my energy, I know. Even if I can convince myself it's okay to touch this thing, my energy's wild. I know
I'm like
it is.
80% there, but there's still that part of me that's just like way down there that's like spiked. Mm-hmm. And I feel like even if I'm not gonna like consciously like squash this thing, I'm still freaked out enough to where it's picking up on it.
Absolutely. We went on our honeymoon. There was a bird. The place had like a monkey and birds and all kinds of shit. And
a bird-eating monkey.
This monkey was dope. But the bird, like, Adam was sitting there talking to it, and I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and leave you with this bird because it will know that I hate it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I came back over, it flipped out. It was like, get the fuck out of here.
I think they can read. An animal would be able to read you on a different level.
Yeah.
Like that you don't even know what you're doing. So like your energy and the shit that you can't see, they could definitely feed off that.
Yeah, dude.
And I feel like they have like some hatred toward humans to begin with, just because like we're damaging the earth. We're not spiritual enough. We don't talk to the earth like we used to and shit like that. So I feel like they hold
I
resentment.
can see all your negative energy in this here magenta light,
Yeah.
but I don't know what to do about you.
So they're already pissed off when you come around because they know without a shadow of a doubt that you're a predator because you've shown that through thousands of years of being a predator. Most of you.
His parents' bird, whenever we go over there, they put it up. They usually put it in their room so it's not around us. I'll walk back there with his mom, and as soon as I come, the bird like backs away. It's like absolutely not. His mom said it never acts that way unless I'm around.
It's like, when are my parents gonna stop protecting me, and this lady's gonna rip my bones out?
Yes. I feel bad because I don't want to hurt it. I don't want anything to fucking do with it, but
Yeah.
I gotta find a way to calm that
It's
shit.
like that stuff, like it strikes, like I don't understand your bird thing. Just
don't
because
either.
I think they're cute and kind of cool, but like the centipede thing I understand completely, but only because they're disgusting and
creepy crawly.
like we don't exist on the same level. Mm-hmm. It's like birds, you think, oh, they've got their families, and they just want to. I don't think of centipedes as having families. I just think of them as like they brood some eggs or whatever, and they run off and eat some shit.
Yes.
Over a cauldron of eggs.
The birds, I don't know where the bird thing came from because it wasn't always like that. But
Did
they
Petey
always
bite you?
seem to, no, but Sam and Shelby, they had a bird. That motherfucker bit me, and I didn't feed it the rest of the week that they were on vacation. Fuck that thing.
And that's how their bird died.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
No, fuck it. It should have bit me.
It might
I
be
was
something
feeding
like
it.
it might be
bite
something
the
that
hand that feeds.
happened when you
Yeah.
were
Simple rule.
younger
Exactly.
that you don't recognize. Like I remember getting bit, and I don't really care for spiders. There was a time in my life that I would collect them and put them in like a box and take care of them. And then one bit me when I was out with my friends. I was real young in my shoe, and I opened the shoe, and it hurt like a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And out crawls this thing, and I ran, a
Creature.
mile
Was
to
it?
get home. I never stopped. I went all the way home. I fucking ran, left my bike and everything, right? And it was probably just like a little wolf spider or some shit. But ever since that, I never kept them anymore. I hated them. I didn't want to even see them. And bees are the same. Like maybe the bird thing, you had like a bad encounter, but you don't really remember, but your brain does,
Yeah. I know they always seem to fly at my head. Like they get way too close. Let
me love you.
Yeah. Yes, that'd be great if that's what it was. I'd rather not fuck with them.
I still have the corpse of a spider in my closet.
It's awesome.
Just so the other ones know, don't come around here.
Amy and the kids gave it to me. It has a little poem there about it.
Aw.
Cool. I put it like on a piece of tape on like some plastic
oh my
or
God,
something.
I love it.
It's awesome.
We saw this spider when we lived at the apartment. I swear to God, that bitch was as big as my head. It wasn't really. It was probably about that big, though.
God.
I promise you it had muscles.
Yeah.
Dude, you could see the definition in this motherfucker's legs. It was like, we have to fucking move. I cannot live here. It wasn't even in our apartment. It was outside in the parking lot where it belonged.
I know where your you're plotting to go.
But bugs are very like spiders are very beneficial. You want them around your barns or your house to capture the nuisance flies.
We had one kind of hanging out on the ceiling in the kitchen, and we just left it alone because like a week ago maybe another one came in, and then like the bigger one ate the other one because like nothing was coming in. But then yesterday, Casper's mom ended up getting rid of it.
Aww.
And I was like, "You killed my friend!" And I was kidding, but at the same time, it was like he's just protecting the back from the gross shit.
Hell yes. Yeah.
We had an understanding. So what if some brute spider comes in? He's like, "I'm setting up in your stuffed animals.
Beating
That's
them
how I'm
up.
eating them bugs."
Awesome.
Oh, shit.
Every once in a while, I can get myself comfortable with one bug. I'm not gonna say bugs. One bug. I'll be like
bug.
fine.
You're one of the good ones.
Yeah. And I'll be like cool with it like that. There was a creature, I think it was in high school. It was on the windshield of the car all the way down to Florida.
Yeah.
The whole way. 13 hours. That motherfucker never left the car. It was my buddy, for sure. I was upset whenever he didn't come home with us. That's about it.
It's so weird. It makes sense, though. I don't care.
Knuckle dude. That was what I called him.
Time to eat
Thought
some
you were
white
gonna
ass
say knuckle
chili.
dick.
White trash chili.
Yeah.
Chili white trash.
It's just got like syringes and trash in it.
Yeah.
White
Yeah.
trash.
Some hairspray.
Some
Crack rock.
some tramp stamps in it.
Ooh.
A crack rock.
A Kid Rock CD.
A crack rock and a Kid Rock CD in it. Yeah. I
A
read
methadone
about.
clinic.
Yeah.
Ball it to white trash chili.
Oh, yeah. I want to call it that. Yeah. It was maybe Washington Park in New York. So there's just they had pictures in this article of multiple people just smoking crack sitting on the bench in the park. Said that there's always been drug use, but the past like couple months has gotten significantly worse to where people are literally dealing and smoking crack sitting there and just like hanging out.
Yeah.
That's cool though, as long as they're not causing any trouble. Like let them smoke.
Well,
crack.
there's been like a 73% increase in robberies and shit.
there you
Yeah,
go.
it's definitely
There's the bad
caused
part about
problems.
it.
They
There's
just
been a
robbing
couple
other
shootings.
dealers and druggies.
So, yeah, they should just like
They're not
give them
robbing
free
people.
crack. How much is like crack to produce for
Well-
like the government? It shouldn't be that much.
Well, and I don't know who the fuck robs drug addicts because they're retarded. Like,
They're
that's
broke.
stupid. Yeah. Drug addicts
Yeah.
don't fucking have
It's
anything.
hustling
You might get
backwards.
$20. You know
Yeah,
they're
I guess
carrying
if they just
cash.
rob someone.
Yeah, if they
I
just
was
rob,
thinking-
everybody's just robbing the next.
I was thinking
now.
because they have to have cash like to buy drugs.
Well, if you just buy drugs, you don't have any cash.
Yeah.
but you
it was
might
always-
have
it was-
drugs.
I
I
was in
robbed
a
this homeless guy and all I got was crack.
perpetual state of I've got money. 30 minutes later, I have drugs. I have no money.
I had money.
No, man, that's gonna wrap it up for episode 108. Yeah, dude.
Man, I didn't make one Desmond reference.
Yeah, now you just did.
That's my own.
I love you, Penny.
Where do you think the second Church of Christ is? Church of Christ? Christian church. Is there a
I
difference?
don't know. I'm sure.
I'm sure,
Probably.
yeah, they'll probably give you a huge difference. Like, whoa, don't you dare call us that.
No, man. Shout out again to Evan. We apologize. I knew you had another kid. Don't take offense
I
to that.
tried to tell him.
It's just we all got a lot of going on, but yeah, man, we appreciate everybody that comes by and listens, hangs out with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for being our friends at the
Thanks
show.
for staying.
If you could like, share, comment, whatever, like just
You know you can.
yeah, you know you can. It's just one button. It's at the bottom of the screen. It's right
Which
there.
it takes 2 seconds.
That's it. You know, hit the notification thing, whatever. Just hit a button. It don't even matter what it is, actually. Hit
Even
one
if it's
button.
the reload thing.
Yeah, it don't
Xing out of
matter.
it. New window.
And then just text us and tell us that's what you did.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a podcast to hang out with, man. That's what
Super
you're hanging
dry.
out with 3 idiots, and we greatly appreciate it. Again, I'm Adam. That's Ian. That's
Hi, I'm
Sarah.
Sarah.
We appreciate you listening. That does it for us.
Thanks.
Skibbity bop bop.
Oh!
Skibbity bop bop.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Skibbity
Wildly
bop.
uninteresting podcast. Episode 108.